crafty friends! September is here, and that means there's some new clubs for us to explore. This video I'm going to share with you my favorite clubs from the Hero Arts Hero Studios subscriptions. Starting with the die of the month, we have a cozy bed and some animals to pair with it. There's a bear and a wolf, plus some dies to make a small bunny and a bird. This large die does give a quilted texture to paper that is cut out for a nice bedding look. This is the Studio bonus die. It features an adorable sleeping cat, plus a little mouse companion. This die comes as a bonus item when you purchase the whole Studio subscription box, and this die pairs very well with the die of the month. Finally, I have all the items from this month's card kit. First is this tree die. It cuts out a tree as well as a circle to tuck in creatures. Plus, the heart and sentiments create a fun pattern on the tree, kind of like an etching. There's the stamp sheet with coordinated dies. This stamp sheet has a few different sentiments and is filled with lots of images, such as 4 different squirrels and 4 sizes of pumpkins. The kit comes with a sheet of coordinating dies, and these dies cut out most of the stamps that you have, including the leaves and mushrooms. Unfortunately, there's no dies for the sentiments this time around. Each kit also comes with a set of Sunset Hero Hues enamel dots. The 3 colors are yellow, orange, and red. The final part of this card kit that I have is the color wheel paper package. All the sheets are 8.5 by 5.5, and you get the following 10 colors: Merlot, Bellini, Coral, Carrot, Terracotta, Cinnamon, Beeswax, Saffron, Tuscan, and Truffle. The kit that you will receive will also arrive with 1 yard of brown twine. Keep watching as I create 3 cards using these clips. So for card number 1, I'm going to use the die of the month. I'm going to use the wolf dies for this particular card. And starting with the wolf heads, which I've cut from white cardstock and 2 shades of gray. That large headpiece has guide markings for the eyes if you choose to only use this die. I'll be using a 3-layer look for mine. I start with gluing the light gray face piece to the darker one, and I carefully line them up using the top of the head and the eyes as a guide. These 2 layers create a complete face for a more simpler wolf face. I am using the 3rd layer in white cardstock to complete my gray wolf face. I add glue to the back, and again, I line up the white with the top of the head. Next, I add the eyes, and this die set actually comes with dies to create those eyes for a perfect fit. I add glue to both the eye spaces, and then I add the eyes one by one. In this case, I've cut the eyes out of black cardstock. The final touch is going to be the white around the ears. At first, I thought both earpieces were the same, but it turns out there is actually a right and a left. I quickly swapped the right earpiece for the one that I glued for a better fit. And I repeat for the second wolf face. I do love how the 3 layers look together. Now to work on the bed headboard, I've cut this out of the white shimmer cardstock, and I'm going to add some accents to the headboard. I add glue to the top on the left and add my silver glitter cardstock. And I repeat on the right side. Adding glue first, then adding my silver glitter cardstock. I have 4 more glitter accents to add, and I add glue to these spots first, and then I add the glitter cardstock, one by one on the frame. The glue helps me to adjust the placement as needed. I'm going to assemble these pieces onto some wood pattern paper from my stash. This, like all the cards I'll be making today, is American A2 size. I'm starting with the layout to make sure that I have the correct spacing. I start with gluing the headboard to my paper, and I add glue to the back of the shimmer cardstock. I line up the headboard with the top of the paper. The pillows are next. These are cut from Cascade color wheel cardstock. I add glue to the back of the first pillow, place it on the left side. I'm having the pillow overhang the headboard a little bit. And I repeat for the second pillow, adding glue to the back, then adding it to my paper. This second pillow does overlap the first one. The quilt is next, and I cut it from Celestial color wheel cardstock. And I went with a solid color to showcase the quilted pattern from the die. I add glue to the back of my cardstock and add the quilt to my card mat, and I leave just a tiny space on the bottom. I add the wolf heads next. I start with adding glue to the back of the first one and glue it on top of the left pillow. I overhang the nose onto the quilt before repeating with the second one, which I add glue again and place it on top of the right pillow. I have the paws to add next. These are cut from the same white cardstock used for the face. I add the first paw on top of the quilt on the left side. I then glue a second paw to the right side of the card beside the right wolf. And the middle paws are last. And I glue the left side first, followed by the right side. This cozy card felt perfect for a get well card, so I'll be using this foiled Feel Better Soon sentiment. I used the Always and Forever sentiment plates from Spellbinders. Add glue to the back of it and place it towards the bottom of the quilt. The last step for this card is to attach it to my card base. I add double-sided tape to the back of my card mat and attach it to my white A2 card base. I do use pre-made card bases. Card number 2 uses the cat bonus die that you'll receive from subscribing to the whole studio package. I'll be making an orange and white cat. I start with gluing the orange face piece to the white face piece, and I did decide to cut the ears off the orange piece first. And this left the white ears showing on the headpiece. I add some glue along the edge of each ear. I add some orange earpieces. These only cover the edge, so I have a white center in the ears. These earpieces are directional, so I had to make sure that I put them on the correct sides. The eyes are next, and I add glue to the eye spots on the headpiece and add black cardstock. I add some glue to the nose portion of the cat head and add a little bit of white cardstock for a nose stripe. Finish the nose with a cute pink cardstock button nose. I work on the tail next. And I add glue to the back of the orange tail stripe piece and add it to the coordinating white tail piece, lining it up with the small, thin tip of the tail. The body is next. I add glue to the orange and attach it to the white body. I cut a piece of red quilted cardstock using the die of the month. I place tape on the back. I place it in the center of some coral cardstock, and I cut that cardstock 1/8 of an inch smaller than A2 size. I will be using the clear stamp set from this month's card kit for my sentiment. I'm using the Thankful For You sentiment stamp. I'm using ink color Oreo from Tailored Expressions, and I did use my Misty to help me align my stamp. Now I'm ready to add the cat to my card mat. I start with the body, I add glue to the back and place it in the center of my quilted portion. The tail is next. I add glue and add the tail to the body. I line up the tail with the curve of the body, and I did overlap it just a little bit. The head is the final piece. I have placed 2 foam squares on the back, and these squares did add a little bit of dimension to the cat, and I place it onto the body. And now I have an adorable kitty that's curled up in the center. I now add the card mat to my card base by adding tape to the back, and then I place it in the center of my white card base. I am left with a small white border along the edge. The third card of this inspiration video will be using the die from the card kit this month, as well as dies from the Die of the Month Club. I'm using the bear from this month's die club, and I'm making a black bear with tan accents. I start with layering the 2 bear faces on top of each other. I add the nose area next, and I'm adding the tan colored accent first. I add glue to the nose section, and then align the nose piece. I add glue to the open spots on both the ears as well as the eyes. And I have tan cutouts for both of those that I attach next, and the tan for the ears. And the tan for the eyes makes them stand out against the black face. The final touch on my bear head is the button nose. I add glue to the tan portion of the nose before I stick the pink nose on. I move on to assemble the card mat, starting with a piece of A2 size blue shimmer paper. This paper is from Your Paper Insider box number 12. And I've cut out the tree from a sheet of truffle colorware cardstock. I did use the included die to cut the circle out of the center. I add glue to the back of the tree before adding it to my card mat. This tree fits perfectly on my A2 size paper, and I line it up so that both the branches are touching their respective sides, and the top and bottom of the tree are lined up as well. I cut an additional circle using a lighter shade of brown cardstock, and it fits perfectly in the center. I added glue to the back and carefully adhered it into the center of the tree. Now it's time to add the bear. I did want the bear to look like it's climbing out of the tree, so I glue the paws on first, starting with the left side, and I place both paws onto the tree at the bottom of the circle. I added some foam tape to the back of the bear head for dimension, and I carefully aligned that bear onto the tree. I did overlap the chin with the paws. I wanted to add more life to this scene, so I'm adding a bunny and a bird. Both dies are from the Die of the Month Club. I start with the bunny. I cut it out of 2 shades of gray cardstock, and I glued the top face piece onto the solid face piece. I add the white nose as well as the whites for the ears. And tiny little black eyes. Last, I add the tiny black nose. I quickly assemble the bird. I'm using saffron and carrot color wheel cardstock. I glue the yellow headpiece onto the orange and finish the face off with a small black cardstock eye. I'm going to have the bird peeking out from behind the bear and the bunny on the bottom of the tree. I first glued the bunny, placing it on the bottom left of the tree. I attached the bird next, and with some glue on the back, I just carefully tucked it behind the bear's head on the right side. The sentiments that I'll be using are very fitting for this card. I'm using both sentiment plates from the classic Pooh collection from Spellbinders. First, I have Silly Old Bear, and then I have It's Your Special Day. I add glue to the back of the first sentiment piece and place it on the top left corner of my card mat. The second sentiment piece I glued underneath the bear on the tree, and I lined it up with the lower branch. For some embellishments on this card, I'm using the Sunset Hero hues dots from the kit. I place 1 small and 1 medium red dot at an angle just above the bottom sentiment. I add 1 more small red dot just below the word special. All that's left to do is add this card mat to my card base. I add tape to the back of my card mat and add it to my card base. This time I'm using a white A2 size top folded card. Now those are the 3 cards I made using this month's clubs from Hero Arts. I also have in the description box below and on my blog post links to all the products that I used. And I hope you have been inspired to create using these clubs. Have a crafty day. Bye.